So welcome, and you want to land your SysAdmin or SysEngineer role. I'm Emilio. I've worked in technology for over 20 years. I started off as a tech, very strongly in a SysAdmin, SysEngineer role. Now look after techs. I look after teams of engineers, teams of developers in various roles, and I've interviewed a lot of sysadmins and sysengineers, and I know what skills and what impresses me as a manager to be able to then hire somebody who's a sys administrator or a systems engineer. Now it's interview time. Now the rubber hits the road. You've done all your preparations. You've now got to go and do an interview. Big thing is to come prepared. Make sure you've had a shower. Make sure you look presentable. Now look, I've got a suit jacket on. Some companies are going to be a little bit more formal than this. If the role is perhaps at a startup company or one of those tech firms that are they're riding segways everywhere, you may want to dress down and dress a little bit more casually. Now, I'm not going to recommend you to come super casual. Don't come in shorts. Don't come in a t-shirt. At least dress up a little bit nice, neat, casual, so that you are going to at least look presentable. Print out your resume, your CV, bring a pen and paper. Make sure that the night before, if your interview's in a morning, for example, have a good night's sleep. If you drink coffee, have a coffee before you come in, making sure that you're awake, you are attentive, be calm. I cannot stress this enough. Nerves are going to be seen. I personally even find it helpful just getting your mind off the whole thing before you go into the interview. If before the interview you're already reading up on stuff and you're starting to stress yourself out, it's not going to help the whole situation. So what I like to do, I'll throw in some music in my headphones. I listen to a podcast just to get your head, your mind off that. Just get prepared, get your mindset right. Coming prepared is going to be key for you. If you're going to be doing a video call, then you don't need to smell good necessarily, but at least look presentable if it's on video. So be aware of what sort of interview it's going to be. Be aware if it's going to be in video or in person. If it's in video, make sure that you are still early. If the interview starts at 9 o'clock, still be available. Perhaps log into your Teams or Zoom or whatever sort of conference is being used a few minutes early. If it's on video, make sure that you've tested the connection. You may have been sent an invitation over email earlier. Go and check it. Make sure that you've got the right software installed on your computer. Make sure that you know the interview. Make sure that you're aware of the time. Sometimes the time zone can mess you up. So make sure that you're dialing in the correct time zone. If you're doing this on a laptop, perhaps you don't have power. Make sure that your laptop has enough battery power. Make sure that you've got a reliable internet connection. Boy, it's not good if your internet is choppy. If your internet is choppy, then the video is going to be choppy on the other person's end. The audio may be choppy. You could have dropouts, and that does not look very good for the people who are interviewing you. If it's in person, get there ahead of time. Check the traffic. Check the weather. Is everything going to be okay? Are you commuting by car? Are you walking? Are you taking public transport? Make sure that you know how to get there. Look up the address beforehand. If it's in a building, how do you get into the building? Do you need to perhaps register at a front desk? Do you have to register? Are you even allowed to go up to the floor? Does somebody have to dial you in or come down to meet you at reception? Whatever that may be, make sure you know where to go. Come early. If your interview's at 9 o'clock, I recommend be there at least half an hour early. At the minimum, be there half an hour early. Not necessarily going to the reception and telling them that you are there half an hour early, but be in the vicinity of the location at least half an hour early. Plan for that. And then when your time comes, make sure that you're there. I recommend 5 to 10 minutes before the interview starts. I like to bring my own notes, bring things that are written down, examples, good examples that I can use that will support the evidence, support my skill set. If I'm watching somebody being interviewed and they are taking notes as I'm saying things, I like that. I love somebody who is interested in what I'm saying and is actively taking notes. And then you go and meet your interview panel. If it's online, if it's in person, you want to say hello. You want to greet them with a handshake if it's in person. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be able to interview with you today. If there's multiple people, you're going to repeat that for each of them. Thank you so much. Be very, very friendly towards them. Keep it light, keep it friendly, keep it casual at the very start. Never underestimate the first impression that you give to somebody who's interviewing you. So of course, depends on the sort of interview that you're going to be doing, online, in person, whether if it's multiple rounds. Keeping calm, keeping relaxed, keeping eye contact with the people who you're going to be interviewing with is very important. Throughout the interview process, show that you are interested. Feel free to be honest. This is one thing that is so overlooked, is honesty. Is if you don't know the answer to a question, don't make it up. Don't procrastinate and believe that you have the answer because you're trying to impress them. If you don't know the answer, tell them. And I would almost say, if you don't know the answer, say, look, I don't know the answer to that, but I'd really love to know a little bit more. I'm happy to do a bit more research about it. Never say, I don't know, and just leave it at that. Provide good examples that show that you have encountered those scenarios before. And then when it comes to you asking the questions, don't ask a whole lot. You've now gauged however long the interview was, whether if it was a 45-minute, a 1 hour, perhaps a longer interview. You maybe already have had some of your questions answered throughout that process. So now cater the questions that you are going to ask to what has not been answered to you. Ending strong is going to be super, super important. Feel free to ask them, what are the next steps? I generally wouldn't ask them about money. Once you've been offered the role, once you know that you have got that job in the bag, then you can start the negotiating and asking them all those tricky questions. Don't ask that in the interview unless it specifically comes up. You thank the panel for the time, you appreciate the time, you're really excited, show that you are excited for the opportunity, that you're excited if the opportunity is successful and you're able to get this role. Be human, be yourself, ask them when do you expect to hear back from them, or say, I'm really hoping that I hear back from you with some positive information. Depends on the sort of specific role and the company itself. You may only have one round. You just have an interview panel and they love you so much that they offer you the job and that's it. But it's very common that there'll be 2 rounds or 3 rounds or more. So be prepared for that. Don't think that there's not going to be more than 1 round. The other thing you've got to consider is that the people who are going to be interviewing you may be from different areas of the business. It's going to be common that you'll have somebody perhaps from HR, from human resources, from people and culture, that may be in the interview panel. And if it's a first round interview, that first round interview may just be a HR person talking to you to see if you're going to be a good cultural fit for the organization before you even start talking about anything specific to the role and maybe more the technical skills of that role. The next round could be actually with the person that you're going to be reporting into, your manager, the manager who's going to be giving you the day-to-day tasks. Know your interview panel, know who's going to be interviewing you, and when you're asking the questions, be aware of what they do. Look up their LinkedIn, know what they have done, know what their skills are, the role in the business, and then perhaps you can more impress them because you've researched them a little bit. You know what they do, their role within the business. So when you're preparing your answers or examples of what you want to be talking about, have different sorts of examples. Have more than one example if you can. Now, because this is going to be some sort of a technical interview, also have questions and answers prepared that are technical and non-technical. You may need to be talking to people who are technical. You may be talking to people who are not technical. And just one final thing, it doesn't hurt to ask them at the end of the interview, what is next? Now, it really depends on the company. It really depends on the individual. It's generally good courtesy for you to follow them up. So what I like to do is once I've finished an interview, I will send that interviewer panel or an interviewee or the main contact an email at the end of my interview, perhaps a few hours after the interview has concluded, letting them know, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really loved meeting with you. Mention the people by name, mention what you liked about the interview, talk up the company, that you loved the company, you loved what the company stands for, you're really excited about the opportunity for this role. When I say follow-up, it's actually not a follow-up. It's just more of a courtesy email saying thank you.